Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into an absolutely incredible story of family betrayal, but also how being completely underestimated can turn into your single greatest weapon. So, our story kicks off with this one brutal command. Imagine hearing this from your daughter-in-law, Jessica. She's talking to Linda, her husband's mother, who was just recently widowed. And this wasn't some polite request. It was an eviction notice, and it was delivered with just shocking cruelty. You've got to be asking, how on earth did it get to this point? Well, let's set the stage for this whole confrontation because, and you're not going to believe this, it all started over something as small as a piece of Waterford crystal. Now, what's so interesting and just heartbreaking about this moment is what it really shows us. Jessica just unleashes years of pent-up resentment, and it all boils over in this unbelievably cruel dismissal. And the whole time, Linda's son Michael, Jessica's husband, is sitting just a few feet away, saying absolutely nothing. Just silence. This right here, this is the turning point. You'd think she'd be crushed, right? But instead of despair, Linda has this moment of startling clarity. The humiliation just kind of washes away, and it's replaced by resolve. A plan actually starts to form in her head before she even makes it to the lobby. And this is where the story gets really good. Linda is about to completely flip the power dynamic with a single, decisive phone call. She didn't argue. She didn't cry or plead. Nope, she just acted. And this wasn't some emotional, knee-jerk reaction. Oh no, this was strategic. See, Linda had known about this property for a whole week. It was a cash-only deal for what they called the crown jewel of the building. And now, well, now she had the perfect reason to go for it. And this was the heart of her strategy. The penthouse wasn't just any old apartment. It was directly above the very one she'd just been kicked out of. This wasn't just about finding a new place to live. This was a declaration of independence. But wait, it gets even better. This was more than just poetic justice. You see, Linda had actually overheard Jessica on the phone a while back, planning to one day own that exact same penthouse. Jessica saw it as her future inheritance. Linda was about to make it her new home. So you can imagine, how did Jessica react when her brand new upstairs neighbor turned out to be the old, useless woman she had just thrown out on the street? Well, Jessica's reaction was, let's just say, immediate and incredibly petty. She launches this whole harassment campaign, filing one completely bogus complaint after another with building management. She was trying everything she could to make Linda's life miserable. But here's the thing. Jessica's entire strategy, her whole attack, was built on a massive, massive miscalculation. She just assumed Linda was some broke, vulnerable widow making a crazy emotional decision. She had absolutely no idea who she was really messing with. The reality? Well, Linda was a quiet multi-millionaire. She and her late husband had spent 40 years carefully investing and building a nest egg that Jessica was about to find out about in the worst possible way. So, thinking she was going on the offensive, Jessica actually escalates things. She hires a private investigator. But Linda, well, she was already one step ahead. She hired her own security team to legally document everything Jessica's little scheme was up to. This is where the story honestly turns into a masterclass in strategy. Linda doesn't just play defense. She uses Jessica's own greed against her to set the perfect trap. Linda's counter-surveillance uncovered something truly sinister. I mean, Jessica wasn't just digging for dirt. She was actively researching how to get Linda declared mentally incompetent, how to seize control of all her assets, and even how to use Linda's own money to get her put in a home. Chilling stuff. Once she saw how dangerous this was getting, Linda finally went to her son, Michael. She laid it all out for him, the undeniable proof of his wife's plot. And when he saw it, he was horrified. He agreed to help his mother get the final, crucial piece of evidence they needed. What happens next is basically a full-blown sting operation. Michael puts on a wire and pretends to be worried about his mom, going along with Jessica's concerns, and she takes the bait completely. She spells out her entire strategy to steal Linda's fortune, and every single word is captured on a crystal-clear recording. So now, with an ironclad case and a taped confession, Linda makes her final move. And this leads to a dramatic ending and a future nobody could have expected. First, Linda's lawyer sends a cease and desist letter that just stops Jessica dead in her tracks. But, oh, it doesn't end there. That recording, it gets handed over to law enforcement, which leads to Jessica being formally charged with conspiracy to commit elder financial abuse. And the final outcome? A total, stunning reversal of fortune. Jessica ends up divorced, gets no inheritance, and has a criminal record. Linda, on the other hand, she protects every penny, helps her son start a new career, and charts this vibrant new course for her own life. You see, in the end, Linda didn't just win a fight. She used this awful crisis as a catalyst for something amazing. She empowered her son, and she chose a future for herself that was all about community and purpose, not about being isolated. So why are we breaking down this story? Because it's such a powerful, real-world lesson that being underestimated can be your greatest strategic advantage. Jessica looked at Linda and saw a victim, but Linda proved she was the queen on the chessboard. And really, in the end, Linda's final takeaway here leaves us with this really profound thought about how we choose to live. She didn't just win back her dignity, she chose to cultivate a whole new life, which kind of leaves us to wonder, are we building walls or are we out there planting gardens?